In the heart of Enfield, a working-class district in North London, the late 1970s were marked by economic hardship, social unrest, and a pervasive sense of uncertainty. Amidst this backdrop, an extraordinary and unsettling series of events unfolded at 284 Green Street, a modest council house occupied by the Hodgson family. The family consisting of single mother Peggy Hodgson and her 4 children. Margaret 13, Janet 11, Evan 8, Johnny 10, and Billy 7 became the centre of what would later be known as the Enfield Poltergeist haunting. The cultural context in which the Enfield events emerged is significant. Post-war Britain in the 1970s was grappling with economic challenges, including inflation, industrial strikes, and a general disillusionment with public institutions. In such times of uncertainty, stories of the supernatural provided both a diversion and a means to express collective anxieties. Poltergeist cases have been part of British folklore for centuries, but the Enfield case stood out due to the extensive media coverage. The initial manifestations of the alleged haunting were subtle yet unsettling. Furniture seemed to move on its own, knocking sounds echoed through the walls, and household items were inexplicably damaged. Concerned for her family's safety, Peggy Hodgson contacted the police. When Constable Carolyn Heaps visited the house, she reported witnessing a chair wobble and slide across the floor without any apparent cause. In her official statement, she noted that she could not determine the reason for the event. The unusual occurrences at the Hodgson residence soon drew the attention of the Society for Psychical Research, SPR, a respected organisation dedicated to investigating paranormal phenomena. Maurice Gross, an inventor and member of the SPR, was the first to arrive at the scene. He was later joined by writer and fellow SPR member Guy Lyon Playfair. The two men dedicated several months to observing and documenting the events at 284 Green Street. They set up an array of equipment, including tape recorder. As the Enfield case gained notoriety, it attracted a fair share of skepticism. Some observers accused the Hodgson children, particularly Janet, of orchestrating the events for attention. Critics pointed to instances where Janet was allegedly caught on camera bending spoons or throwing objects. However, investigators like Gross and Playfair acknowledged that while some incidents may have been fabricated, many others lacked conventional explanations. Their extensive recordings captured numerous instances. The recordings of the voice known as Bill remain among the most contentious elements of the Enfield case. Experts, including speech therapists and ventriloquists, analysed the tapes and suggested that the voice could have been produced by Janet using a technique called false vocal fold vibration. However, they were unable to fully explain how a young girl could maintain such a gruff and masculine voice for extended periods without apparent harm to her vocal cords. Adding to the mystery of voice, one of the most iconic and hotly debated moments of the Enfield case involved a series of photographs capturing Janet seemingly suspended in mid-air above her bed. Taken by a remote-controlled camera set up by investigators, these images show Janet with arms and legs extended, appearing to levitate. Skeptics argue that the photos depict her jumping off the bed, noting the lack of motion blur and the positioning of her body. However, those present during the events reported that Janet was thrown across the room by an unseen force, describing the movements as unnatural and beyond the capabilities of a simple jump. The ambiguity of these photographs continues to fuel discussions, with some viewing them as compelling evidence of paranormal activity, while others see them as easily explainable by natural means. As the months progressed, the intensity of the phenomena began to wane. By 1979, reports of disturbances had significantly decreased, leading investigators to conclude their studies. Janet, who had been at the centre of much of the activity, later admitted to fabricating a small number of incidents, estimating that about 2 were hoaxes. She explained that these fabrications were attempts to test the investigators and see if they would catch her in the act. Despite these admissions, Janet and her family maintained that the majority of the events were genuine and beyond their understanding. Maurice Gross, one of the primary investigators, remained convinced of the authenticity of the haunting until his death, citing the volume of evidence collected over the years. The Enfield Poltergeist case has left a lasting impact on popular culture and the field of paranormal research. It has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries and dramatizations, including the 2015 miniseries The Enfield Haunting and the 2016 film The Conjuring 2. These portrayals have brought the story to a global audience, often blending factual events with fictional elements to enhance the narrative. While such adaptations have reignited interest in the case, they have also contributed to the mythologizing of the events, sometimes overshadowing the original accounts and evidence. Nevertheless, the Enfield case remains a touchstone in discussions of poltergeist phenomena and continues to inspire debate and investigation. The Enfield case has also been analysed through psychological and sociological lenses. Some researchers suggest that the phenomena could be manifestations of psychological stress, particularly in a household led by a single mother facing economic hardship. The theory posits that the children, especially Janet, may have unconsciously exhibited behaviours that externalized internal conflicts and anxieties. This perspective aligns with the ideas of psychologist Nandor Fodor, who viewed poltergeist activity as expressions of repressed emotions and psychological disturbances. While this explanation does not account for all reported events, it offers a framework for understanding some of the occurrences without invoking the supernatural. Today, 284 Green Street appears as an ordinary suburban house, yet its history continues to attract attention from paranormal enthusiasts and curious visitors. The current residents have reported ongoing interest in the property, with people often stopping by to take photographs or inquire about the haunting. Despite the passage of time, the Enfield Poltergeist case remains a subject of fascination and debate, symbolizing the enduring intrigue with the unexplained. Whether viewed as a genuine haunting, a psychological case study, or a complex hoax, the events at Enfield continue to captivate and challenge our understanding of the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural.
I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died. Just before you died and just after you died.
Days before I died, I went blind. Then I had an hemorrhage and I fell asleep and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs.
Bill, if you're there, would you answer me the following question? What have you done with Denise's 13 papers?